We're back with another episode highlighting Pecan Plantation, one of the best neighborhoods not only in Granbury, but in the state of Texas. This is a fantastic neighborhood, HOA, and we're actually going to start our video at the village at Pecan Plantation. This is where all the action happens. If you want to grab food, we got the bistro, we've got the pharmacy here, we've got Deja Brew, a coffee shop where you can grab breakfast in the morning. This is where all the action happens, the gas station, food store, and then also there's an Ace Hardware right down the road. So we're going to jump in and do a pros and cons of moving to Pecan Plantation in 2026. We know lots have changed since we did the last video, so we wanted to update and kind of capture some of what's changed in Pecan Plantation, as well as highlighting all of the amenities and things that are here. So someone that might be thinking about retiring in the next year, 2 years, can get an update on what it would be like to live here in Pecan Plantation. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to walk and show you a couple of things as far as amenities. Then we're going to go back to the office, give you a snapshot of what the market's like real estate wise here in Pecan Plantation. And then we're going to do a map tour and kind of do some highlights to give you all the things you need to know before you make a move here in Pecan Plantation. So stick with us. We'll jump into that in just a minute. We're continuing our tour of Pecan Plantation. I'm here at the PAC. We call this the PAC pool. Before we jump in, if this is your first time to the channel, we really appreciate you tuning into today's episode. Be sure you click that subscribe button and press the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about any updates or changes here in Pecan Plantation. We know that some folks are looking to retire maybe 1-2 years out, and they're trying to plan financially and put together a plan for what it's going to look like when they make that transition. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out to us, call, text, email. We'd love to connect with you, answer any questions. Also, my wife has just started putting out a newsletter for the Granbury area. It highlights things you can do, restaurants, recipes, also things you can get at each restaurant that we know are really good because we've tried them before. We'll have those in the newsletter. If you'd be interested in that, ping me. Eventually, we're going to get it into the write-up in the description below, but I don't think it's there yet, but we will have it in there shortly. If you would like it, just let me know. We'll shoot you a link over for that newsletter. It goes out once a month. But here we are at the PAC pool. My wife and kids come here pretty often during the summer. It's a great Olympic-sized pool. There's also a kiddie pool over here on the side, and it's just a great place to come and hang out during the summer. Now, not only do you have the pool, but you also have the PAC pool. You also have the PAC, which is the Pecan Activity Center. Basketball court over here to the left. We've got a pool table and all sorts of little things set up in the game room, a little basketball game for kids. So PlayStation, Xbox and stuff are set up over here in this corner. So also in this far corner where the windows are is in a little event room. So sometimes we've had parties or had get-togethers with folks from church or something like that. We'll put something together back here, and you can have 50, 60 people pretty comfortably in this little back room. You just got to lease it out, and they're pretty good about it. So great little spot here in Pecan Plantation for things that you can do. Now, Pecan Plantation has a lot more than just a pool and an activity center. There's also a park that we're going to take a look at today, jungle gym, there's frisbee golf, there's pickleball courts, there's a dog park, and that's just at this location. There are multiple parks around the neighborhood, in addition to having the air park, the marina, 2 golf courses, and much else besides. There are many other things that are also located in the neighborhood. So right here behind me is a little park. So we have friends that come over, we have kids, they have kids. We'll come out here and let the kids play for a little while. There's also some fun stuff to do for the adults. If you've never played frisbee golf before, that's actually pretty fun. And there's a court. I'm gonna actually show you the course. Right here behind me are the 3 pickleball courts. It's in the fenced area here. Very nice courts. If you've got the equipment, you can just go out there and play anytime. If you don't have the equipment, you can go inside to the PAC and you can rent the equipment out. So we have our own equipment so that we don't have to go through that process. We just run out, play for a little while. And this is pretty central, located in Pecan. It's pretty much in the dead center. So wherever you live, it's probably not too much of a drive. Continuing on, we have the dog park that's gonna be right here behind us. So the dog park is a place where animal lovers and stuff can bring their dogs and let them hang out for a little while. Maybe you want to play frisbee golf and you want to let your dog play in there for a little while. So this is a great spot. I know a lot of people are excited about this. So it's definitely a cool addition to the neighborhood. All right, so if you've never played frisbee golf, basically you have these different levels of frisbee. Some are heavier, some are lighter. You will get instructions And basically you will start from one spot and you will get X amount of throws that you will add up and tally up over the course of the game. But if you see this little thing behind me with the chains and the railing, basically you throw your Frisbee into that, it catches it. And you basically walk, it probably goes for about a quarter mile. It goes pretty far. And there's actually a pathway that you can kind of walk as well. But if you look far behind me, I don't know if the camera really catches it, about 20, 30, 40 yards behind this one is another one. So after you do this one, you get it, and then you will continue moving through the course. So it's a pretty cool setup. So that kind of captures this one spot. This is not the clubhouse. There's all sorts of other things that are over there. There's a much larger pool at the clubhouse actually that has a lot deeper water. It has a diving board. You can also order some stuff and some walking trails. So a lot of stuff over there. We're gonna go to do a map tour in the office where we're gonna highlight most of the other amenities in the neighborhood. Sometimes it's a little easier so that I can give you better information and kind of clip some of it. But I'm really glad you stayed tuned so far. We're gonna run back to the office now and finish up everything. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to us. All right, so we're back in the office and we're gonna wrap up our look at Pecan Plantation. We're gonna highlight a few things here. So a couple of pointers. We know we have people that reach out to us all the time, and sometimes people love the idea of living in an HOA because of all the amenities, and some people hate the idea of living in an HOA. The thought of someone telling them when they can put their trash out and when they have to pull their trash cans in is the opposite of what they're looking for. And so we understand that the HOA life is not for everyone, and it is not going to be the right decision for many, but for some, it's a perfect setup. So what are the costs and things that are associated with the HOA? If this is something that you are looking for, you're running costs and you're trying to determine if this is a good fit. So basically, Pecan Plantation is about $200 a month for the HOA. That includes trash. If you live in the air park or the landings, you're going to be looking at an additional, I believe it's $55 a month. So if you live on a taxiway or in the landings air park, you're going to have an extra fee, $55 a month for that. There is an initiation fee of $5,400 for your entry into the neighborhood. We can talk more about that. You can sometimes negotiate that into your offer to get the seller to cover that portion of the costs as a way of kind of making it all make sense in the original offer process. But the purpose of this initiation fee and some of these monthly fees are maintenance of the neighborhood. The roads are in very, very good condition. Pecan Plantation does an exceptional job of managing the funds that come in from the HOA and initiation fees. I would say it's one of the better neighborhoods that I've seen in as far as maintenance over a prolonged period of time. They just handle it very well. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to complain about certain things that the HOA does. I'm not happy with everything the HOA does, but looking at it from an objective standpoint, they do a very good job compared to many of the neighborhoods you're going to see around Granbury. I would say that they are one of the best in terms of managing funds and things of that nature. So those are the costs that are associated with it. What do you get with it? Well, we've kind of highlighted a host of the amenities. You know, we've talked about the pools, tennis courts, the golf courses, the air parks. We talked about pickleball courts and the soccer field and frisbee golf, the basketball court. We talked about all the restaurants. We're going to highlight some of those. I'm actually going to pull up a few so you can see images associated with some of these different restaurants or businesses that are here. And we can give you a rundown of the list of all of the amenities that you have. Because if you're looking to spend $200 a month, you probably want to know, what is my money getting me? But there's also a different perspective on that $200 a month. Hood County is known for having very, very low property taxes, some of the lowest in the state. Hood County has some of the more affordable tax rates, and we're outside of the city limits, which means that our tax rate is even lower. So if you lived inside of the city, you're going to be paying 0.4% more on your tax rate than if you live in Pecan Plantation. So if we stop for a minute and actually consider that 0.4% of the property taxes is going to be about the equivalent of the HOA fees for a $400,000 home, then you start to factor in, well, we have our own Pecan EMS, and we have our own Pecan fire station. So we have a mini city out here, and instead of paying the city portion of the taxes, we're just paying that for the HOA here. If you go inside of the city limits and you get a home there, your taxes are going to basically make up for what you're paying on the HOA. So you're going to be sending it to the city instead of this specific pecan plantation. Not to disparage Granbury, but I would say that I am much more confident in Pecan to manage this $200 a month than I am for the city of Granbury to manage that $200 a month. And again, I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm just saying, just from a standpoint of, you're going to have a lot more quality things here for your $200 a month than they're going to have there, if that makes sense. So it's a perspective on what you're getting for your money. Now, what someone might say that hears this is say, well, I'll just go buy something that's outside of the city and doesn't have an HOA, and we'll just have the really low tax rates. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm with you. We're just to be transparent. I live out here in Pecan Plantation. We've been here for 6, 7, maybe 8 years. Time flies, but right now we're looking to transition to go and buy some acreage. We're not unhappy with pecan or anything like that, but it's just time for us to do something a little different. So we're in that stage of life where we're wanting to get out of the HOA and get some acreage. But there was a time where the idea of an HOA and all the things that were here, they were very appealing, and we have thoroughly enjoyed it living here in this neighborhood. So it's something that we have appreciated, and we have great memories out here, and nothing negative really to say. We're going to jump into some highlights. We're going to start with a few restaurants that we're going to highlight. So Pecan Plantation Marina, the Pit Barbecue. I think they have brisket wrap Wednesdays, $5 for like a big brisket wrap. Great value. Good burgers. They have a burger that has an onion ring and some brisket on it. Barbecue, I forget the name of it, but it's really good. This is a place that we'll eat at from time to time. Village Bistro. They have good pizza, good sandwiches. Recommend you checking them out. They do deliver in the neighborhood. It's got to be a certain amount, but great option for folks that live here. Then we have the Pecan Plantation Country Club, which has a restaurant in it. It also has 11 hotel rooms. I think it's 11. For some reason, my memory says that, but we've stayed there a couple of times. I think it's 11. But you can stay there if you have friends or family that are coming in to visit for Christmas, and maybe they need a spot to stay and you don't have room at your house. You can book them. You need to book it in advance because like holidays tend to get filled up. But you can book a room in advance, and they can come and stay in the hotel. But this is also where you'll go driving range, putting. All the golf course stuff for the main golf course is going to be started here. And it's just a great place. The big pool where my family in the summer times, we'll go down there and you can order drinks and fries, and chicken tenders and stuff like that for the kids, and they'll bring it out, deliver it out to an area under an umbrella, and we're out swimming and eating and having a good time. So great spot here to check out. Deja Brew is actually a coffee company and a pastry company that you can go and pick up coffee or pastries in the morning. Hasn't been around that long, and it is pretty small, so it's growing as people become more and more aware of it. I mentioned Ace Hardware has its own store here in Pecan. I have mentioned, and I'll mention it kind of throughout this video, I would say the biggest con to Pecan Plantation is the drive time from here into town. And what they've done essentially is created enough value within the neighborhood so that it is not absolutely necessary for you to go into town usually. So you've got an Ace Hardware store, you've got a food store, you've got restaurants, you've got a pizza place, you've got a coffee shop, you've got a place you can go buy wine or bourbon, or they have a pharmacy, they have doctors. It's just EMS and firehouse. It's just a pretty robust neighborhood. And what they've done is they've created a self-contained, almost like a little city, and made it where it's less necessary for you to have to travel out. And that is one way they've tried to lessen the sharpness of that drive time to and from the city. Now, you're still going to have to drive in, to and from the city for things, but it doesn't, you're not as forced to as you were maybe 20 years ago. All right, so Pecan Foods. This is a grocery store, and a pretty good grocery store, if I'm being honest. If you go in, it's they've got the frozen section and the bread. They've got produce, meats. They've got a little place where you can order food, burgers, stuff in the back. So it's pretty robust. It's not Walmart, and it's not even the size of like Brookshire's or HEB or Kroger, but for a neighborhood, it's a very good size. It's surprisingly big for a neighborhood. So I think you would be pleased with it if you went in. The prices are going to be a little higher in the neighborhood than if you go to one of the stores in town for obvious reasons. Take with that what you will. All right, so we're going to do a quick map tour of the neighborhood as well. So let's go pull up Pecan Plantation. All right, so essentially there are two entries into Pecan. You have this entry here, which we call the front gate, and you have this entry here, which we call the back gate. So those are the two entry points into the neighborhood. As you can see, basically, the neighborhood is surrounded by a river. So it is basically a moat. We basically live in a moat here. As you go around the area, you will be coming over a bridge here. There is a little spot right here where the water doesn't completely connect. So we're not technically a moat, but close a dang enough. All right. So if we're looking at this particular neighborhood in relation to the city, you're going to zoom out and we're going to pull. So the neighborhood is here, and you come up into this would be where the city is right up here. This is if you're going to do shopping, Walmart, HEB, wherever, you're going to have to go there. So you can go back gate to get there, or you can go front gate to get there. So there's basically two ways. Looking at Pecan, we are halfway in between Glenrose, so you can actually drive out and go down to Glenrose and be there pretty quick. And from Pecan, you can actually come down this road and travel up to Cleburne, or even going on up into Dallas, up through 67. So if you're wanting to go to Fort Worth, chances are you're going to come out the front gate. You're going to go down Fall Creek Highway, and then you will run down to Fort Worth here. From the front gate here to Fort Worth is about 45 minutes from front gate to entering into Fort Worth. My wife used to teach a kindergarten class that was connected with our church. It was a classical Christian school, and she used to make this drive every morning. And it's if she doesn't hit a bunch of traffic, it was about 50 minutes for her to make it to the school from our home. So it was about 5 minutes from our home to the gate, and about 45 from there to the school. That's about what you should expect on the drive time. Now, if you're wanting to go up to Weatherford, obviously Granbury, the proximity to Weatherford, it's about a 30-minute drive from here, but this is going to add an extra 20 on it. So from here to here, going front or back gate is 20 minutes. So 20 minutes is going to be added on to basically everything that you do. From Granbury to Fort Worth, you're probably looking at 35 minutes. So you basically add 20 onto that for living in Pecan. So Pecan adds basically 20 minutes for just about anything you do. And that would be the major con. So if we look at kind of how the city of Granbury is situated, there are homes over here that I call the Fort Worth side of Granbury. Basically, any of this is going to be Fort Worth side of Granbury. And then you've got what I call like the square, north of the square, up in here. This is kind of the homes, I call it the north side of Granbury. Probably nobody else in the entire state calls it that, but that's what I call it. And then I would say you've got the far side of Granbury, the non-Fort Worth side, which is going to be basically all of this. Okay, so if you live over here, basically traveling to Fort Worth becomes untenable if you travel during specific times. And the reason for that is if there is a bottleneck of traffic in Granbury, this is where it is the worst, is right here. So if you live, say, in Canyon Creek and you have to travel up here at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're going to hit an enormous amount of traffic that you're going to have to go through, and that traffic is going to persist all the way till about right here. So you're probably looking at 35 minutes worth of wait in traffic before you ever are able to even start your journey from Granbury to Fort Worth. That's what's tough. That is kind of the quadrants of Granbury, and Pecan, where it's located, the 20 minutes will allow you to bypass all of this because you can run through the front gate and come out and basically be through all the traffic. So even though it is in some ways just as far, it does allow you to bypass some of the traffic. Okay, so we are going to do a highlight of the real estate market in Pecan Plantation. We want to take a look at the real estate market in Pecan Plantation and give you an idea of what homes are going for, how many homes are for sale, what should you expect if you're going to start your home buying process to live out here. So there are currently 90 homes for sale in Pecan Plantation, 90 homes for sale, and they range from $185,000 to $2.3 million, from 9,000 square foot all the way down to 1,100 square foot. So you've got a lot of options and a lot of variety in the homes out here. That's one of the things that a lot of people appreciate, is that there are not a lot of cookie cutter homes. A lot of the homes do have a unique look and feel to them, and it's one of the things that we appreciate about the neighborhood as well. So let's run some scenarios. Let's run some stuff so we can see. So you got 90 homes that are available. Let's back up and do this. How many homes are currently pending out here? 6. And then if we look, how many homes have closed in the last 90 days? 66. So that tells you a lot of activity, a lot of movement, a lot of sales are happening. So in 3 months, about 70% of what's on the market will probably be sold. So the market is doing decent out here. All right, let's go back to our actives. And so we're at 90. Let's put year built. Let's see how many are built after 2020. 17. Okay, let's even go a little bit. Let's go a little bit further. How many of them have built after 2024? 14. So of the 90, 14 are basically new homes. 14 are basically new homes. That gives you a pretty good idea. How many of the homes out here are on over an acre? 10. So there's 10 homes right now in Pecan Plantation on a minimum of 1 acre. All right. Sometimes we have people that want 1-story home. They don't want multi-levels because of age, wheelchairs, or whatever. They want a 1-story homes. How many homes in Pecan Plantation of these 90 are 1-story? 66. 66 are 1-story. All right, we can keep thinking about this, and we can come up with some different ways of doing searches. So how many 4 bedrooms, at least 4 bedrooms, are for sale? 43 of the 90 are at least 4 bedrooms. Square footage, maybe you're wanting 2250 square foot as a minimum. 60 of the 90 are 2250. All right, so you see, we can go in and we can run through some scenarios to find out what is the makeup of the homes. So let's do a price point analysis. We can say, how many homes are under 400,000 in Pecan? 23. So of the 90, there are 23 homes currently under 400,000. What about 400 to 600? If we did that, there are 40 homes that are between 400 and 600. And then I would say 600 plus, you would look at it and you would say 27. So if you were to think about that, then you also get an idea of what is really the sweet spot or the range for Pecan Plantation. What is the typical home? Well, they're the biggest in that 200 span, 400 to 600, there is more homes for sale in that range than there are below or above it. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what the typical one is. Now, there are some very, very nice homes out here, and there's also some that are below that. And so it's a neighborhood with enough variety where the prices are relatively stable, and overall it's a pretty safe investment. So that gives you a really good snapshot of the real estate market here in Pecan. It shows you kind of the prices and what to expect. We've gone over some of the amenities. I've done videos in the past where we've highlighted the air park. We've highlighted the strip, where the landing strip. We've highlighted many other things besides places where you can go and shoot air guns, RV park where you can stay. We've showed where you can go and drop your trash off on the last Saturday of the month. We've showed the horse stables. We've showed many other features of this particular neighborhood. And and we would be happy to highlight more of those. What we wanted to do is just a quick update because there have been some changes in the neighborhood. There are more new homes being built than there were last time we did the video because there's some different areas that are in the process of developing. So we hope you found this video helpful. If you have any interest in Pecan Plantation, we would love for you to reach out to us. We'd love to answer any questions you have. And if you're, planning a retirement, I know, the question that we get a lot is, do you buy now? That way you can use your current income before you retire and you lose that income. What are the plans? Do you want to sell first and then buy, or do you want to buy while you're currently living in your other home, secure the home, finish out retirement, and then move in? Plenty of options. I know that everybody's in a different state of life, and so there are different situations and different things that you may need or looking for. And we'd love to give any advice or try to make this just a little bit easier. We know moving, from one state to another or making these big life-changing choices is sometimes challenging and difficult. And we'd like to be an advocate to help and give you any advice just to make this move a little bit smoother for you. So we really enjoy and appreciate that opportunity. All right, so thank you again for staying tuned throughout the video. Feel free to reach out to us, call, text, email anytime, leave comments. Be sure to click that subscribe button, and if we don't hear from you, hopefully we'll see you around Pecan sometime.